Yeah, let's talk about subnets. Subnets. The subnet is kind of a smaller network inside a VPC. Subnet is associated with availability zone. Correct. Please take those points. We understood what is VPC. So VPC is at region level. In that region, there might be lots of data centers. The VPC is at region level. So subnet is at data center level. Otherwise, availability zone level. Subnet is a smaller network inside VPC. It's a smaller network inside VPC, which is associated with availability zone, which is associated with availability zone in the brackets data center. One availability zone represents one data center. Can we create a subnet combining two data centers? No, we cannot. So subnet can be created only in one data center. Can we club two? Not possible. It is not possible. So we have concept saying private subnet, public subnet. We just discussed what is subnet. So there is a concept called as private subnet, public subnet. So private subnet in sense which is not facing internet. Public subnet in sense which is facing internet. Private subnet. Private subnet. A subnet which is not facing internet, which is not facing internet, which is not facing internet. So how you know whether a subnet is facing a internet or not? Where to check? No, route table. The option is routing table. This is an interview question. They ask you how you check whether a subnet is facing internet or not. We can only check with help of routing table. Check the routing table of that subnet. If it is having an entry for internet gateway, then it is internet facing. Otherwise, it is not internet facing. How to check a subnet is a private subnet or public subnet? By verifying the routing table or route table. By verifying the route table of a subnet. That is how we do, right? If you check the route table, if there is an entry for that internet gateway, then it is internet facing and it becomes public subnet. If there is no route, then it becomes a private subnet. So when we use private subnet, no, any specific use case. If I say web server, it should be internet facing. Correct. Those servers must be inside public subnet. If I say database server, it should be in private subnet. So database server is one use case where we put them in private subnet. We won't expose database servers directly to the internet. Your applications will talk, not the customers directly talking to your database servers. Take that point also. We use private subnets for database servers. database servers. The question is, in which subnet you put database servers? Public subnet, private subnet? Private. They should be in private. Yeah, the question is, in which subnet? The same one. I'm just giving it that in a different way. In which subnet we put database servers? Private subnet. We always put them in a private subnet. See, the way we create subnet is same. If I attach internet gateway, it becomes public. If I don't attach internet gateway, it becomes private. That's the only difference. There is no a different way to create private and different way to create public subnet. Creation of subnet is same. It all depends on the internet gateway. Second point, as public subnet. Public subnet. So let me ask a question. If I want to install Jenkins server, where I can put that Jenkins server? Public, private. Who access Jenkins? Company only, right? Why I should put in internet? Getting my point? We are going to use Jenkins. That should be obviously in a private subnet. It should not face the internet. Why I should give access to outside world? Jenkins is specific to our team, correct, or our organization. It should be inside a private subnet. Public subnet. If a subnet is attached with internet gateway, if a subnet is attached with internet gateway, then it becomes public subnet. Then it becomes public subnet. Then it becomes public subnet. So when we use public subnet for web servers, so where you deploy your web applications, those servers must be internet facing, because clients will interact with web servers, not directly with RDBMS, right? Not database servers. They directly talk to your web. The web server might, or web application might talk to your DB, which is in private subnet. Yeah. So web servers are placed under public subnet. Under public subnet. Under public subnet. So please keep those things in mind. So generally web servers come in public subnet, database servers come in private subnet. Correct. Yes, yes. I mean the same. If you put it on subnets route table, it's associated with that one. Internet facing subnet is public. If subnet is not facing internet, it is a private. Next, let's talk about route table. Should I show that? See, we have seen how to create subnets, right? Look at here. Look at here. So it comes under VPC. See this, we have a couple of VPCs, 4 subnets. If you want to create a new subnet, click that, create a subnet. Give a name, give that CIDR block range, and it is associated with a route table. If that route table has internet attachment, then it becomes public. If I remove that, it becomes private. Now let's talk about route tables. This one. First we talked about VPC, then subnets. Now we are talking about route tables. Route tables. See, if I have two, what to say, instances, two EC2 instances. If they want to communicate, there should be a route. There should be a way first. First, there should be a way to communicate. On top of it, I can put all security firewalls, all the stuff. So remember, route table is associated with a subnet. Subnet. Every subnet will be having one route table. Let's say we have two subnets. Both will have a route table which decides what kind of traffic we can pass through that subnet. Route table. See, first let's open this route table. So let's see this one. See the routes. There are lots of routes. Couple of routes here. So what is this destination here? I'm talking about the first route. What is the destination there? Machines in VPC. The range is nothing but the VPC range. The machines in its VPC can talk to this. Can talk to this. Any machine in the VPC has a route to communicate with this, with the instances under this route. That's the meaning. What's the second rule there? I'm putting 0, 0, 0, 0 /0, right? What does it mean? Any machine, not only in the VPC, any machine with help of internet gateway, they can communicate. They can communicate. Yeah, before getting into those things, whenever we create a subnet, your AWS will create a default subnet. No need to explicitly go and create it. Whenever I create a subnet, AWS creates a default route table. It creates a default route table. So take that point. Whenever a subnet is created, whenever a subnet is created, AWS creates AWS creates a default route table. AWS creates a default route table for a subnet. So keep that in mind. No need to explicitly create a route table. When you create a subnet, it is associated with a route. We call it as a main route table. We call it as a main route table. The entry looks like this. Let me change this one first. See, this is how your default main route table looks like. You can take this one, please. Take this one. The default or main the default route table looks like this one. This is your default. What is this destination? This is cider block of VPC. Remember that. So machines in VPC, all machines in VPC or its subnets, they have a route to talk to this machine or to talk to this subnet. Destination IP. See, whatever I'm showing, right, default one, that is your range of VPC. We cannot modify it. We cannot edit it. We cannot delete it. See, there's no way to, I think, we cannot delete it. I'll come to that. One second. What is that? More number of? See this one, there is no option to delete. Whatever the default route we have, right, that we cannot delete. What's your question? Huh? Yeah, yes. Let's say you want 10 database servers, you'll be putting all in one subnet, correct? Like private subnet, and you'll be having a route table for that subnet. We'll make the route saying only web servers can talk to this, or a DB administrator can talk to this. Is that your question? People in sense. Okay. Okay. Which servers? Okay. Right. One second. When number of employees increase, so why employees coming into picture now? We're talking about how machines will communicate in the VPC. I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. Is your developer going to access web servers? No, right? May not be. It is only for deployments. So why your developer wants to log into web server? Provided if there is any issue, everyone don't require log into this, right? I'm talking about how the routing happens inside your VPC. If you have 3 subnets, each subnet having different servers, how they can communicate? That's what I'm talking about. So forget about employees, forget about the other guys now. See, our problem is if there are 2 machines, let's say, one is in private subnet, one is in public subnet. How they communicate? There should be a route. If there is no route, they cannot communicate. And this one, right, I cannot delete. If I delete this, meaning they cannot communicate now. There is no route. They cannot communicate at all. So that's your main or default route table. So whenever you create a subnet, it is associated with a main or default route table. What is the route? Default route in the table. This is the default route. On top of it, we can add more routes. One for internet gateway, one for something else, something else, something else. Tell me that. So now tell me how to make this as a public subnet. Right now it's a private subnet, right? Why it is private subnet? It is not facing internet. How to make this as a public subnet? Add another route, provide the IP address range. So put internet gateway on top of it, save it. Now it becomes public subnet. What is the main use of default route? If there is no default route, the machines in your network cannot communicate. I cannot say they are in a network. See, if I am creating a network for 10 machines, what does it mean? Every machine should talk to every machine. There is no route. They cannot. There is no network, I can say. Yeah. You also can see a couple of internet machines in this one. Can be attached two routing tables for one subnet. No. Only one. If you want add routes, correct. You want more rules, let's say. Add routes, why I need routing tables, correct? So that's the internet question. Can a subnet? Can a subnet be associated with two route tables? Can a subnet be associated with two route tables? Answer is no. Answer is no. We cannot. So one subnet must be associated with only one route table. If I try to associate the other route table, the old one will be dropped. I can do that. So I can change routing table. I want to create a new routing table and I want to put new routing table to my subnet. Can I do that? Yes. So when we associate subnet with a new route table, whatever was associated, that is dropped. I cannot have two route tables simultaneously for a subnet. Fine. So now we have one subnet that is internet facing subnet and it is a public subnet. Let us create one more subnet. I want it as a private subnet, meaning can I use this route table? No. If I use the same route table, it also becomes public facing. What I should do now? Create a new route table and associate that route table to that new subnet. See the requirement. Right now, we have one VPC. We have one subnet. Is it internet facing? Yes, it is internet facing. I want one more subnet. I want to launch database servers in my subnet and I want that to be private. Shall we try that approach? Creating a subnet and making it private. Creating a subnet and making it private. See, come back to subnets. We created web servers yesterday. See the route table. See, select this web servers. See the route table. So it is having internet connection. or it's on internet gateway. Is that a public subnet, a private subnet? It's a public subnet. I want to create one more subnet for my database servers. Let's call this as DB servers. One for web servers, which is public subnet. One more for DB servers, which is a private subnet. So which network we want to put this? DevOps demo itself. VPC, we need to select the VPC, right? And availability zone. Web servers we created in 2A. You can create in 2A itself or any other region. So let me select 2B. What about CIDR block range? 10.192. That was 1. The first subnet was 10.192.1. I can make it as 2.0 slash. Let's see how to create a subnet, how to make it private subnet, or how to make it public subnet. Let's create. So did I create any route table for this? No. What happens now? The default route table is attached. See that? See this. Even for DB servers, it is attached with main route, correct? Now it is also facing internet. Can you see this route table? It is facing internet. So when you select this DB servers, it is facing internet. When you select web servers, it is also facing internet. But for DB servers, I don't want that to be a public subnet. I want that to be a private subnet. What we should do? So both are having same route table, right? If you modify that, it affects both. What we should do now? Create a new route table and attach that new route table to this DB servers.
That netmark should be same for
Which one?
netmark slash 24.
Yes, yes.
Should be same for
Kind of yes. It says 24 or 28, right? We can use 24 or 28. But it should be in the range of VPC. The VPC is your bigger subnet. In that I am creating a subnet. The range when we put for subnet, it should match your VPC because they are all coming in same network. That's the only restriction. So what is next? Create route table. Create a route table. Let me call it as I'm giving some name. Obviously, VPC. We should select VPC. Give a name, meaningful name. Select the VPC, nothing but your network, and just create it. Step 1, we created subnet. Step 2, we are creating route table. What is step 3? Attach this route table to that subnet. See, whatever we created now, it says it is not a main. Can you see yes, no there? Main is created by your Amazon, and this is kind of a custom which we created. So it's saying it is not a main. Okay. Go to subnet associations. How many subnets we have now? Two. One is web servers, one is DB servers. See what it says. Right now, no subnet is associated with this route table. Just we created a new route table, that's all. It says there is no association. What we can do? Edit, edit. So we are selecting that route table. You should click subnet associations with this route table. It says none. I'm clicking edit. So which one we want to attach? DB servers, correct? Let me go back and come. See, just we created private subnet. We created private subnet. This is the route we have right now. And I want to attach my DB servers, or I want to attach my subnet which has DB servers into this route. Go to subnet associations. No subnet is attached with this route table, but I want to attach which one? DB servers. Click edit. Select DB servers. One point here. See, right now, your DB server is attached with which route? Main. That is having internet. That is having internet. Now I am attaching this to our private subnet, our private route. What happens to the old route? That is dropped. Correct? That is detached. Save it. Yes. Can you see that? We created subnet, we created route, and we are attaching that route to this subnet. If you see the routes now, it is not having internet gateway. There are two routing tables, one for internet, one which is not for internet. Should I repeat this exercise one more time? Yes? Yes. Okay. Okay. Definitely I'll do that. Let me clean it up first. Whatever we created, so DB servers we created right now, let's delete. It's also deleting a subnet. Okay. Let's go to route tables. Right. I cleaned it up. Shall we do it from starting? So what's the requirement? I want a subnet for launching database servers, and it should be private subnet. That's the requirement. What is step one? Create a subnet. I want this subnet for DB servers. Give a name. Choose your VPC. Yeah, we have a couple of VPCs. One is default VPC, other one is the one which we are trying for a demo. So I'm going with DevOps demo. Availability zone. Choose where you want that subnet, which data center. cider block 10 192 dot, we used 1 for subnet 1, I'm using 2 for subnet 2 dot 0 slash 24. You guys are familiar with this now, no need to explain it again and again. So create it. So what is next? First let's verify the route table for this. So DB servers, see the route table. By default it is attached with main route. Main route has couple of routes. One is the normal local network, the other one is internet gateway. But what is our requirement? DB servers should not face internet. I don't want to make it public. What is next? Tell me please, what is next? Create a new route table. Go to route tables, create a new one. It's already there. It's already there. Let me clean the old one. Yeah. Now create a route table. This is a kind of private subnet, correct? You want it for DB servers route and select the right VPC please. So this is the new route table. Check for subnet associations here. Right now it is not associated with any subnet. See that? We do not have any subnet associations to this route table. What we want to do? We want to associate DB server subnet to this route table. How to do that? Edit. Which one to select? DB servers and say save. Currently it's using main DB server. Currently it's using main. Now we are changing that to DB servers route. See the routes now. The DB servers route table is this. It's not having internet gateway. That's all. So now we demonstrated how to create a subnet, how to make it public, how to make it private. Understood? Or still you are in confusion?
For making a public, we don't need to make a subnet, new subnet. We should not create any of them.
No, as simple as this one. Forget everything. You want to make a subnet public. Check its route table. If internet gateway is attached, it becomes public. If not, attach it. So the private subnet. So check the route table of private subnet. If it is not having internet route, then it is a private subnet. For example, if it is having, make sure you remove that.
That means for internet gateway, we need to check whether the destination IP is 0.0.0/2, right?
That's your choice. Whom you want to allow on this internet gateway, that's your choice. No need to be always 0.0.0. It can be anything. Anything. Based on your need.
Sir, this DB servers,
Yeah.
which one it shows that it is attached with internet gateway? Which part of it?
Meaning,
You said that to check whether a subnet is into accessible to internet or not. Please check for route table. Which part of route table it is?
subnets. See, you want to check whether it is what's the route table of that. Right? Correct. Come to subnets. See the point. Route tables are specific to subnets. Correct. We have these many subnets. The first one and the last one is created by us. The remaining three are kind of default ones. We got it according to our account creation. I want to see the routing table for the last one. Select this guy, see the routing table. If I want to see routing table for web servers, select that guy and see the route table. Got it? Web servers having internet gateway in the route. If you see the DB servers here, they're not having internet gateway. That's correct.
Internet gateway public, right? This one should be private.
Internet gateway for
If internet gateway is not there, means it will be public.
it becomes private.
Private.
See, internet facing subnet is public. Non-internet facing subnet is private. How the destination ID in route table is assigned? It is auto assigned by your Amazon cloud based on your VPC range. See, his question is how this is coming. Maybe.
This is subnet is that is a VPC like
Yeah, that's
subnet is that
yes. His question is how this is coming there.
AWS generate.
So whatever cider block range we gave for VPC, same thing comes to this. Why? If you want to connect two machines, there should be a route between two machines. If you want to connect 100 machines, there should be a route between 100 machines. So we are creating a data center. Obviously, every machine should have a route to talk to every other machine in the network. That is the destination. Any machine in this VPC can talk to my subnet or machines in my subnet. That's the meaning. We cannot modify this one. If you're modifying this, you're breaking your network itself. You cannot do it, first of all. You cannot do it. The default should be there always. On top of it, you add your own routes. That's fine. Still confusions? No, right? Yeah. Next, let's talk about elastic IPs. Elastic IP. How to? Come again? Yes. We learned how to create public subnet, how to create private subnet, and what is route table. Elastic IPs. We discussed about public IP. What's the problem with public IP? What happens to public IP when I stop my server? It is released. What happens to my public IP when I restart my server? The old IP is released. It is associated with a new IP address. It's a kind of dynamic IP. It changes whenever we restart a machine. Elastic IP. Elastic IP. This is also interview question. They are asking, I have a public IP to my server, EC2 instance. If I stop my server, what happens to public IP? It is released. It's gone. What happens if I restart my server? Again, old IP is released. It is associated with a new IP. The IP address keeps changing there. But when it comes to elastic IP, the IP address remains same, constant. That's one thing. The second thing is, let's say I'm attaching elastic IP to EC2 instance 1. I can detach and I can attach same elastic IP to EC2 instance 2. That flexibility is there.
Same IP address.
Yes, we can attach. No. At the same time, it cannot be associated with 2. Let's say it is associated with EC2 instance 1. Remove that and put it to EC2 instance 2. That is possible. Elastic IP is also a public IP. Is also a public IP, but it remains constant. But it remains constant. We also can detach elastic IP from one EC2 instance. Take that point. We also can detach elastic IP from one EC2 instance and attach another EC2 instance. We also can detach from EC2, from one EC2 instance. We also can detach from one EC2 instance and attach to another EC2 instance. Attach to another EC2 instance. Let me show use case for you first. So let's say we are configuring a load balancer and it has a couple of instances behind the load balancer. I didn't talk about load balancer, we'll be discussing that. Just I want to explain you when we need elastic IP. So we have two machines here. Or two web servers. So we are configuring a load balancer. We are configuring a load balancer. In this load balancer, I should configure IP address of both the servers. Let's say the public IP is and the public IP of this one is just a moment. So in the load balancer, I need to configure all the IP addresses which is under this load balancer. Then only whenever there is a request, it can send the request to that particular server. If these IP addresses keep changing, what happens now? Your load balancer cannot work. Load balancer cannot work. Let's say I configured 55444331 and sorry, IP address should be different. So one is .1, one is .2. I configured both here. 1 second. To my load balancer, I configured both the IPs. Let's say I'm restarting the servers. What happens now? It will change. What happens to load balancer now? It doesn't work because the IP address which we configured is different from the IP address which we have after restart. That's a problem with public IP. Probably we need a kind of elastic IP there. Okay, let's see how to create elastic IP, how to associate elastic IP to that EC2 instance. Creating elastic IP. Creating elastic IP. All are simple steps. Click elastic IPs. Right now there are no elastic IPs. I will say allocate new. Take those steps please. Under elastic IPs, allocate new. It will give you a pop-up. Say yes, allocate. See that message. See, there is a small charge for an elastic IP address when it is not associated with a running instance. I'll explain that. First, let's create the elastic IP. We got it? Doesn't it look like public IP? Definitely yes. But this will never change. This will never change. Now I want to attach this to a web server or EC2 instance. Select this guy, actions, associate address. See there. Yeah, obviously we have only one instance, so it is showing only one in the drop down. Let me repeat. We created elastic IP. Now I'm trying to attach this elastic IP to EC2 instance. Select this guy, actions, associate. It gives you a pop-up. I want to associate this with an instance, which is a web server. Select that web server, say yes, associate. See that early it was not associated with any instance, now it is associated with this instance. And its private IP is this one. What is private IP? VPC specific IP address. If you see the range, we started with 10.192. 1 represents subnet 1 and 242. What is the 242? IP address, the complete IP address of that instance. Where to check these things now? Go to EC2 instances, check that instance is associated with this elastic IP or not. Services, EC2. We have only one EC2 instance running. Or it is stopped, whatever. Can you see this one? Elastic IP. Elastic IP. Is it going to change if I restart? Let's start this server. Even if I stop, start or restart, the elastic IP doesn't change. So what is difference between public IP, elastic IP? Public IP will change whenever we restart. Elastic IP will never change even if we restart a machine. Yeah, see it's running now. What is the public IP? Nothing but the elastic IP. It's ending with 201.227. Let me restart and show that one. Reboot. Is it going to change that? So please someone remember this. 201.227. Oh, restarted or not? Maybe. See, it's restarted, but still IP address or elastic IP address remains same. Same. Why they are calling it as elastic IP? I can attach to different EC2. It's not associated with only one. I can detach. I can attach to some other EC2 instance also. Okay. So we should make one note here. What they are saying is, if you are using elastic IP and if it is not attached with any running instance, there is a minimal charge. If I stop my server is associated with elastic IP, I will be charged some minimal charge. The reason is, the idea behind charging for elastic IP when server is not running, we are wasting that elastic IP. So that's the reason behind what to say charging. There is some minimal charge. Make a note of it. Not there is going to be a minimal charge. There is going to be a minimal charge if elastic IP is not associated with running instance. If elastic IP is not associated with running instance, what is the amount? So we can check the documentation for that. You can see the pricing, EIP pricing. Everything we cannot remember, obviously.
They are now associated.
And now it is part of my running instance, correct? No issues. No issues.
There must be some handover time to attach them. They must be giving some time.
Maybe,
What
maybe,
time we can attach.
maybe.
If it crosses that time, then it might be charged.
Right. Oh, I want elastic IP pricing. So I need to check that one. So pricing, right? We are looking at pricing. It's minimal, I think some dot $004 something kind of 004, not 04. Very very minimal charge. Please check that one. We'll see later. So if you're stopping it, see, if it runs, no issues. If I am running one instance, no issues. It comes under free tier. If I stop now, the problem is I'll be charged for EIP, elastic IP. So one option, release it. We can easily release that one. So let's stop the server first. VIP under VPC, correct?
While creating, we are giving them the login details, right?
Correct.
Login details. Suppose if they want to charge anything like number
Yeah.
charging rate, the auto debit,
No, no, no,
not like it.
no. We should go and manually do it.
If I not pay,
It's like your mobile bill now.
bill only, okay?
If you don't pay your mobile bill, what happens? They'll follow up, kind of. They'll send repeated emails saying bill is pending.
I mean, they remove that my account.
Maybe they suspend.
It's taking $0.87.
0 point.
87.
Okay. Okay. How to detach? So select this one. Oh, it's already released.
Yes.
Okay. Disassociate. Disassociate to detach. If you say release, see now it is not attached to any instance. What is next? Release. It is gone. Okay, so I want to stop here. So that's about today's class. So if you have any questions, please let me know.